I stared at my phone screen, watching the words flash under the family group chat. "We forgot your birthday again," followed by a string of emojis, a cake, a balloon, a confetti popper, and a laughing face tilted sideways. The screen lit up against the dark of my room, the only light in the space, as if mocking me. A strange silence filled my chest, not the kind that feels peaceful, but the kind that buzzes behind your eyes, just before the tears come. Except, I didn't cry. I just sat there motionless, like my soul had braced for this very moment and was already numb from it. It was 9:17 p.m. on April 8th, my 19th birthday. Not that anyone else seemed to remember that. They always forgot, or rather, they always remembered too late, just long enough to save face but not enough to make it matter. There's a difference, and that difference had been tattooed into my heart since I was old enough to compare my birthday to my siblings. My sister Layla got princess-themed parties with balloon arches and cupcakes shaped like tiaras. My brother Samir had pool parties with speakers blasting and new gadgets, wrapped in shiny foil. And me? Once, my cake had someone else's name scratched off in icing, and my mom actually said, "It was on sale and you like chocolate anyway, right?" I remember being 9 and convincing myself they were just busy. I remember being 12 and thinking, maybe I didn't do enough to deserve a big celebration. By 15, I figured maybe it was my fault for being the unexpected child, the oopsie baby, as my aunt once whispered when she thought I couldn't hear. But by 19, there were no more excuses left to tell myself. Only facts. I wasn't seen. I wasn't prioritized. And tonight was just more proof. I had baked my own cake earlier that day. It was vanilla with strawberry filling because that's what I liked, and no one ever remembered. I'd spent the afternoon pretending like I wasn't checking my phone. Every 5 minutes, waiting for the message, or the call, or the knock on the door. I'd worn the new floral dress I saved for special occasions, the one Mom complimented once, saying it brought out my eyes. I told myself maybe they were planning a surprise even though my gut told me otherwise. I told myself maybe this year would be different. But when the text came, it was like someone had ripped the curtain open on the lie I'd been clinging to all day. That stupid emoji-filled message felt like a punchline to a joke I wasn't in. My fingers trembled slightly as I read it over again. "We forgot your birthday again. Not I'm sorry. Not we love you." Just that. And I think what hurt the most wasn't even the forgetting. It was the casual way they brushed it off. Like I was the type of person you forget about, and it didn't even matter. Like my feelings weren't worth more than a laugh cry. Emoji. I didn't reply. I didn't want to open that door just to be disappointed again. Instead, I glanced at the cake I'd made, still sitting on the counter. I hadn't even lit the candle. I hadn't wanted to celebrate alone, even though part of me knew I probably would. There were no streamers, no music, not even a card. Just me and the cake. And silence. The thing is, this wasn't the first time. Every year had some version of this story. In 10th grade, my parents went to Samir's soccer game on my birthday and forgot to pick up the cupcakes I brought for school. In college, they sent me a happy birthday meme at midnight, followed by radio silence. Last year, Layla posted a selfie captioned, "Celebrating life on my birthday," and forgot to mention it was mine. I remember everything. I don't think they even know what my favorite flower is, or that I write poetry when I'm sad, or that I changed my major from business to media because I didn't want to live someone else's dream anymore. Growing up, I used to take videos. I'd film everything, not just the good stuff, but the in-between moments. Quiet corners of loud parties, my face in the mirror on days I felt invisible, the times Mom told me I was too sensitive, or Dad sighed and said, "Don't start with your drama." I think I wanted proof that my feelings were real, that I existed, even if no one else noticed. It was a habit I never let go of. Even now, my phone was filled with years of clips no one had ever seen. That night, something shifted inside me. Not anger, not sadness. It was something colder, something clearer. I wasn't going to explain my pain anymore. I was going to show it. I stood up, walked to the kitchen, and lit the candle on the cake. One candle, a single flame flickering in the darkness. I pressed record on my phone, stared straight into the lens, and whispered, "Happy birthday, invisible girl." Then I blew out the candle. Later, I sat cross-legged on my bed and opened my editing app. I pulled clips from different years, little snapshots of the loneliness I had tucked away for years like souvenirs. A video of my family laughing around the table while I sat silently in the corner. A blurry clip of me at 14 blowing out candles alone. Voice memos of things they'd said over the years. Don't be so dramatic. We'll make it up to you. It's not a big deal. It took me hours. Not because editing was hard, but because I was trembling. The whole time. I wasn't sure if I was brave or just tired of hiding. But by 2:30 a.m., it was done. 2 minutes and 13 seconds long. Title: The Invisible Daughter. The background track was a soft, melancholy piano version of Happy Birthday I'd found online. I added subtitles. I made sure every shot said something, even when no one spoke. At 2:44 a.m., I hovered over the post button on TikTok. I thought about how they'd react. I thought about deleting it. Then I thought, they never asked me how I felt anyway. So I clicked post. And I slept like a rock for the first time in months. When I woke up the next morning, sunlight was seeping through the thin curtains, and my phone was buzzing with notifications. For a moment, I didn't connect the two. I thought maybe it was just the usual, group chats, school updates, junk messages. But when I turned over and lazily grabbed my phone, I saw it. 87 unread notifications, 14 friend requests, and more than 300 TikTok mentions. I blinked, sat up, and stared again. That couldn't be right. I opened TikTok. My heart thudded as the app loaded. And then I saw it. The Invisible Daughter had gone viral. 12 hours, 482,000 views, 112,000 likes, 18,000 comments, 2,300 shares. I stared at the numbers like they were in a foreign language. My brain couldn't wrap around it. I clicked the video and watched the play count tick up in real time. People were watching me. My quiet pain, my whispered heartbreak. It was being seen by thousands of strangers. I scrolled through the comments, hands slightly shaking. This made me cry. I felt every second. I thought I was the only one who grew up like this. Why do parents think the quiet one doesn't need love too? This is my story too. Thank you for saying it out loud. They don't deserve you. You're powerful for posting this. There were hundreds like that. People pouring out their own childhood wounds, tagging their siblings, their therapists, even their parents. Some wrote in all caps, some left only broken heart emojis, and some simply said, I see you. And that's what got me. Not the views. Not the likes. It was that. I was seen. My pain, which had lived in shadows for 19 years, had found daylight. And not just daylight, a chorus. A community of forgotten daughters and overlooked sons and people who had celebrated their birthdays, alone year after year, all quietly wondering if they mattered. My story had cracked something open in them. I didn't know what to do next. I sat on my bed in my pajamas, heart racing, watching comments come in faster than I could read them. At 10:04 a.m., my phone rang. It was Mom. I stared at the screen for a long time before answering. I didn't know what I expected her to say, but the moment I heard her voice, I knew she wasn't calling because she missed me. She sounded tight. Like she was already defensive. What is this video? She asked, skipping any greeting. Good morning to you too, I said, trying to keep my voice level. I just got a call from your aunt. She said you posted something on the internet about the family, about us forgetting your birthday. She said the word forgetting like it was a minor inconvenience, like I'd made a mountain out of a harmless oversight. I didn't respond. We didn't mean to forget, she continued, her tone sharper now. And airing family matters in public is not okay. It's embarrassing. I finally spoke. Do you know how many birthdays you've forgotten, Mom? Not just the cake and gifts, the whole day. The texts that come at night, the empty chairs, the silence. She paused. I could hear her breathing on the other end, short and frustrated. I've had a lot on my plate. We all do. That doesn't mean we don't love you. Really? I said, voice cracking despite myself. Because it didn't feel like love when I was 9 and you forgot I was in the school play. Or when I was 16 and you said you couldn't take me out because Layla needed a ride to a party. Or when you laughed and said, "We forgot again," like it was a joke. She didn't reply. So no, I continued. I'm not taking the video down. It's not about embarrassing the family. It's about telling the truth. My truth. You. Just don't like that other people are seeing what I've lived through for years. That's not fair, she whispered. Neither is spending 19 birthdays waiting for someone to care, I said, and hung up. I sat on the edge of my bed, breathing hard, the silence in the room suddenly comforting, empowering. It was the first time I had stood my ground like that. The first time I didn't shrink under guilt or second-guess my pain. The video kept climbing. By 3 p.m., it had crossed 1 million views, and that's when the DMs started flooding in. People thanking me. People asking if they could share it. Therapists reposting it with captions like, "A masterclass in emotional neglect." I got one message from a woman named Hannah. She wrote, "I saw your video, I'm 34, and it still hurts. That no one came to my college graduation. I cried watching this. You gave words to something I never could." Another from a guy named Jared who said, "I used to think I was weak for being hurt by stuff like this, but your story made me realize I was just human." And then my cousin Ava messaged me, "I saw your post. I'm proud of you. You're not the only one they've treated like this. They did it to my sister too, but no one ever dared speak up." That message hit differently because Ava was the perfect cousin, honor roll student, always smiling, but apparently behind that, smile was pain too, the same kind. The kind no one talks about because it sounds too small to matter, but cuts too deep to ignore. That night, I stitched together another short video, a follow-up. It showed the messages I'd received, with usernames hidden, and ended with one sentence: "If you've ever felt forgotten by your own family, you're not alone." It hit 2 million views by morning. Something bigger was happening. What started as a personal truth had become a mirror for thousands. And I realized this wasn't just about my birthday anymore. This was about emotional neglect, about silence, about kids who learned to celebrate themselves because no one else showed up. On the 3rd day, I got a call from my brother, Samir. "Look, I didn't mean to forget," he said. "I had a lot going on. Work's been insane and—" "Save it," I said. He hesitated. "You made us look bad." "You made me feel invisible for 19 years, I said. "I just told the truth. If the truth looks bad on you, that's not my fault." "Okay. But don't you think you're blowing this out of proportion?" I laughed bitterly. "That's the problem. You all think it's small. But you weren't the one sitting in silence year after year pretending not to care." He got quiet, then said, "Is this who you are now? The girl who goes viral for family drama?" "No," I said calmly. "I'm the girl who finally found her voice. You just don't like that I used it." That night, I didn't post. I just read messages. Hundreds of them. One girl said she bought herself flowers every year and told people they were from her parents just so she didn't have to explain. One guy said he hadn't celebrated a birthday since he was 10. One woman told me she hadn't spoken to her mom in 6 years because she finally stopped pretending it didn't hurt. There were so many stories. So many invisible kids trying to be brave. On day 4, I created a new page called Unseen Siblings. It wasn't just about me anymore. It was about us. I invited people to share their stories. I posted clips from DMs, with permission. I highlighted messages from therapists, educators, child psychologists. The page grew fast. People stitched. My video told their own truths and tagged their friends. The movement had begun. And somewhere in the noise, I started to feel something I never expected: peace. Not because my family apologized. They hadn't. Not because I was suddenly famous. I wasn't. But because for the first time in my life, I didn't feel alone. I wasn't shouting into a void anymore. I was part of a choir, a quiet revolution, of voices rising from the shadows, and I didn't regret it for a second. The rain started just as I stepped outside, like a quiet nod from the universe that something was about to shift. It had been 3 weeks since I posted the video that turned my entire world inside out. 3 weeks of viral momentum, raw messages. From strangers, silence from my family, and a strange kind of freedom I didn't know I'd been craving. Every day since that night, I had told myself I didn't need anything more from them. No apologies, no closure, no validation. But the truth? A small part of me still waited. Not for a birthday wish this time, but for truth. For accountability. For someone, anyone, to finally see me. Then the message came. It was from Layla. Not a call. A text. Of course. Can we talk? In person, all of us. At home. Please. At first, I didn't respond. I stared at the words like they were written, in another language, as if the phone had suddenly become a brick in my hand. All of us. That meant Mom, Dad, Samir, and Layla. A family meeting. Something we hadn't done since I was 13, and they were debating whether to get a new TV or send Layla to piano lessons. Spoiler, they chose both and forgot to pick me up from school that day. I sat with the message for almost an hour before replying. Fine, tomorrow, 6 p.m. I didn't expect much, maybe a fake apology, maybe a lecture, but I knew I had to go, not for them, but for me. I needed to look them in the eyes and make sure they knew I wasn't that girl anymore. The girl who sat quietly in corners, swallowing the hurt and smiling through the cracks. No, she was gone. And in her place stood someone who had found her voice and wasn't about to let anyone take it away. The next day, I showed up exactly at 6. The house hadn't changed. Same wind chimes on the porch, same crack on the driveway, same feeling that I didn't belong. But I walked up, rang the bell, and waited. Layla opened the door, looking more nervous than I'd ever seen her. Inside, they were all there. Mom was on the couch, her hands folded tightly. Dad stood near the window, not meeting my eyes. Samir leaned against the wall, arms crossed, jaw tight. And Layla gestured awkwardly toward a chair like we were guests in our own family. No one spoke. At first, I broke the silence. So, I'm here. What did you want to say? Mom looked up. We saw your video. All of it. And the new page. Your movement. She said, movement, like it was a disease. I figured, I replied. It's caused a lot of embarrassment, Dad chimed in. Our friends, co-workers, even your cousins, everyone's talking. And? I asked, my voice sharp but steady. Layla cut in, her voice soft. That's not why we called you here. I looked at her. She seemed different, like something had cracked in her too. Her makeup was minimal. Her eyes were tired, but real. I know I haven't always been the best sister, she said. I know I got the attention, the praise, the celebrations, and I didn't ask why you weren't getting the same. I just assumed you were okay, because you were quiet, because you didn't complain. And I'm sorry. I stared at her. Of all the people in that room, she was the last I expected to speak with real remorse. Samir spoke next. I watched your video 6 times. At first I thought you were exaggerating, but then I remembered I forgot your birthday 3 years in a row. Even when Facebook reminded me, I just ignored it. You didn't make a big deal, so I didn't either. And that was selfish. I said nothing. I was still waiting for the part where it turned into an attack, a guilt trip, but it didn't. Yet, Mom cleared her throat. It hurt to see you say those things, not because you were wrong, but because we didn't realize how much we failed. You, that made me look up. For the first time, her eyes were glassy. Not defensive, just raw. I was juggling work, your father was traveling, and your siblings needed attention, and... Stop, I said. She froze. No more justifications. No more explanations. I didn't come here for a list of your struggles. I came here so you could understand mine. I was a child who wanted someone to remember her, not once or twice, every year. And you all forgot. Not just birthdays. You forgot me. No one spoke. The room was thick with silence. Layla sniffled. I made that video because I was tired of shrinking to make space for everyone else's feelings, I continued. And the world didn't just watch it. They related. Thousands of people saw themselves in my pain. And maybe that says more about this family than it does about me. Dad rubbed his temples like he wanted to disappear. We can't go back in time, but maybe we can fix this. Try to move forward together. How? I asked flatly. By remembering next year's birthday? By pretending the past never happened? No, Layla said, by letting you be seen. For real this time. She pulled out a small notebook. We've been writing letters, each of us. You don't have to read them now, but they're for you. She handed it to me. The weight of it was small, but it hit like a brick. I'm not here to make you feel better, I said slowly. I'm here to tell you I'm not your secret anymore. I'm not your quiet embarrassment. And if this is guilt or damage control or a PR cleanup for the family name, I don't want it. Mom shook her head. It's not. Then show me, I said. Not today. Not with flowers or letters, but next time. The next time something good happens to me. The next time I need support. The next time there's a moment to show up. Do it. Don't say you will. Just be there. The silence that followed wasn't uncomfortable this time. It was heavy. Real. The kind of silence that happens when something unspoken has finally been said. I stood to leave. I don't hate you, but I needed to become my own family. That's what the internet gave me. Strangers who saw me more clearly than my own blood. As I turned to go, Mom whispered, "We're proud of you." I paused, then nodded. Took you 19 years to say it. Layla followed me outside. She handed me a wrapped box. I know it's late, but I saw this and thought of you. Inside was a small silver necklace. A charm shaped like a microphone. For your voice, she said. You finally found it. And it's powerful. I looked at her. For the first time in years, I saw my sister. Not the golden girl. Not the family star. Just Layla. A girl who made mistakes, who looked sorry, who looked real. Thank you, I said quietly and walked away. The weeks that followed were quieter. Not because the noise stopped, but because I didn't need it anymore. I still posted, still ran unseen siblings, still helped others find the words for their pain. But I wasn't posting for attention now. I was posting for healing, for community. For the little girl I used to be, the one who lit a candle in her bedroom and whispered a wish that someone would remember her. She was finally heard. On my next birthday, I didn't wait for texts. I booked a cafe. Bought myself flowers. Invited 3 people who had become real friends and spent the afternoon laughing without checking my phone. But just before I blew out the candle on my slice of cake, a car pulled up outside the cafe. It was them, all 4 of them. Mom, Dad, Lila, Samir, holding balloons, holding a sign that said, "Happy birthday, Maya. We remember." They stayed outside, not wanting to intrude. Just showing up. I didn't cry. I smiled, a real one, because for the first time, they had done it. Right? No guilt, no drama, no excuses, just presence, and that was all I ever wanted.